Yes, people, welcome back to the Magpie Channel TV. Finally, the Premier League returns this weekend. After the international break, club football is back, and it is back with a bang, as we've got loads of games coming up. I think it's 7 games across a few different competitions across the next 22 days. There's loads of football. Premier League this weekend, Champions League next week, Premier League again, Carabao Cup the week after that. You get the point. There's loads of football back for a month, and then it's another stinky international break middle of November. Thankfully, I think that's probably the last one of the season, just about, until next year. But we'll focus on the Palace game in this video, and obviously we'll massively focus on Eddie Howe's press conference this morning, which was no questions at all, really, regarding the Palace game or the return of Premier League football. It was all about Sandro Tonali, as you'd expect. So we've got that to talk about in the video. We've got loads to get through in this one, so please do give us a like if you enjoy it. Do subscribe if you haven't already, as we are closing in on 30,000 subscribers. Nice milestone we're hitting on that one, so if you haven't, please do hit that subscribe button. It's free, doesn't cost you anything, do you know what I mean? So do us a favour, hit that, and we can finally hit 30k, which is massively undervalued in my opinion. We should be way beyond 30k, and obviously I did have the first channel where we lost 10,000 subscribers, but we're getting there, we're growing it, and we're having a good time. So do stay tuned in, because there's loads of content coming your way on the Magpie Channel TV. Obviously there'll be loads tomorrow for the match day. We'll have the match reaction, the match day vlog, and before the game, if you're about in the tune, if you're coming to the game or if you're watching it in town or whatever you're doing on your Saturday, get yourselves along to Pumphrey's Bar on the big market. I'll be there on stage, Q&A with you lot, just a bit chat about the game, probably loads about Tonali again, really. Any questions that the people in the crowd have got, and just enjoying a couple of pints before the game. So that'll be Pumphrey's, big market, 2 o'clock. Right then, now we can get into the real juicy stuff, I suppose, and that is the press conference. Let's start with that before we do talk about the Palace game and what I think is going to happen, who's going to play. Loads of injury news to get through as well. There was a lot of team news updates in the game for tomorrow, because we've been missing players for a while. We've got who's coming back. Palace are the same, mind. Palace have got quite a handful of injuries themselves. But before we talk all about that, let's get the Tonali stuff out of the way then. And that was essentially how the press conference went. Do you know what I mean? You could see Eddie Howe was absolutely sick of it by 10 minutes into press conference. All these questions about Tonali, these questions about betting partners and everything. You know, you got loads of stick for Newcastle United having 3 betting sponsors when obviously one of our players, Tonali, has got the gambling addiction. He refused to comment on that, Eddie Howe. He said, listen, that's not for me to talk about. I just focus on football and the coaching. A couple of people were still trying to push him on that. Everyone was just trying to push him on Tonali, really. The big questions that were asked were, how did it come about? So how it came about was Eddie Howe got a phone call off Dan Ashworth during the international break, and it took him, Dan, everyone at the club by a huge surprise. Everyone was shocked by the news of Tonali, and then that led to questions about, well, was there not due diligence taking place when we signed him to find out these things? And Eddie Howe was like, well, you're never going to find out everything about a person's life. Do remember that this is a human being. Footballers are human beings. They've got the downfalls, they've got the weaknesses, just like us. And how we were meant to know? No, we didn't know. Like, it was obviously a secret, something Tonali was hiding. How would you realistically find that out? What are you going to do when Tonali signs? Be like, oh mate, open your phone a minute there, put your passcode in, bang, snatch his phone off from like a paranoid girlfriend, take it off him, straight on, have a look. Is there a betting app on here? Web search history, bank statement. You're not going to know. How are you going to know that unless he came out and said, oh, by the way, that's not going to happen. You know, he's not going to do that. He's obviously probably embarrassed by it as well, like an addiction, like, you know, most people are. They suffer with it, so they don't want to know. If only he had spoke out earlier and tried to resolve it, but then again, would we have signed him? He's not going to really come out and say that. He's probably hoping that nothing major is going to happen. Obviously, it's turned out to be an absolute disaster. But Eddie Howe was saying no, the club didn't know. How could they have known? And then the big question, and I've talked about it in my videos previously, is did AC Milan know? Because obviously loads of people on social media, loads of the fan base are saying, me included, that we've had our pants pulled down by AC Milan. Surely they knew. That was very reactionary of me. It was a rant video, and I was saying I think AC Milan know, and I still stick by that. I still think they must know that he had something going on, in England at least, about it. But Eddie was asked about that, and he was like, I can't answer that question. I can't answer it. It's not for me to say, and I don't know. And he said that, you know, there's people behind the scenes at the club that will be doing the best interests of the club in terms of trying to find out the truth and maybe getting some compensation, maybe claiming a lawsuit or filing something, you know, but those are things that are going on behind the scenes and that are out of Eddie Howe's control. So we'll wait and see what happens there, but I'm sure Newcastle United's owners are getting everything in place, the lawyers, the correct people to do some digging and to find out the truth, and we'll wait and see what comes of that, whether AC Milan knew or not. I mean, I said it before, it always seemed a bit fishy, didn't it, letting the star boy go for only £50 million, their captain, and then a few things about the transfer and everything, but who knows, do you know what I mean? We're just saying that now because it's came out. Eddie Howe mentioned the word hindsight a lot in his press conference. You know, he was asked, oh, well, would you have signed Tonali? Do you think you should have signed him? Would you have done it? These sort of things. And he says, well, we're signing him based on footballing needs. We're signing him based on what we know he can do on the pitch. That's why we paid the money for him. We didn't get him necessarily because of his character or what he was like off the pitch. Obviously, that's a huge part in the players that we've signed so far. You know, your Brunos and that. But you know, he signed him. It was a footballing reason. He says, how were we meant to know things that was going on? How did we meant to fully know who he is until he comes here? The main thing that Eddie Howe wanted to get across in this press conference was that the club and everyone is fully behind Sandro Tonali, that they are backing him, they're giving him the support that he needs, that his family needs. He said the first thing he did was feel for him. He wanted to put an arm around him and he offered him love and support, and that's the way it is going forward, and the club are going to be fully behind him. He was even asked, will Sandro have a long-term future at the club, and does he want to stay here? Eddie Howe just completely shut that down, so that's ridiculous. Haven't even talked to him about that. Obviously he does. He wants to stay here. We want him to stay here. We paid big money for him, and we'll see a future there, and Sandro wants to be here as well. And then obviously the big question was, what's happening with the ban? You know what I mean? Is the ban happening? How long is it for? Do we know what he's betted on? And Eddie Howe was basically saying, like, I'm not... He's being shrewd here as well. He will know certain things, obviously, but he's saying, oh, it's not to do with me. I'm just focusing on training the players and stuff, which is the right response, but he will obviously be in the loop. He'll know what's going to happen. They'll know what's kind of in the works. Apparently, it's going to come out maybe next week about the ban and what the Italian prosecutors have found and what suspension they'll serve. But Eddie Howe, for now, is saying he's very much available. Tonali has trained a couple of times this week with his teammates. He says he's had a very rough couple of weeks, understandably, but he thinks that the Italian is dealing with things well and he's got a good head on his shoulders. But it's going to be a late decision on whether or not he'll benefit the team and it'll benefit him playing tomorrow. For me, I think it would. I'd play him. Why not? We're going to be missing him for a good long time. You know, he's going to miss a lot of games, so play him now while we've got him, see what he does, and if he is having a nightmare, just pull him off. Just pull him off. But I think if he starts, then the love from the fan base will really hit him, and you'll feel affected by that. You'll feel the affection, you'll feel the love, and you'll feel the support, and I think that would spur him on to play even more, even if he was struggling upstairs. So for me, I'd start him, definitely. I would start him. Be interesting to see what Eddie Howe does. I think he will play. I think we'll back him. And imagine if he scored. That would be controversial. But listen, Ivan Toney played for ages when they knew his ban was coming. It just took the FA a lot longer than it's took the Italian authorities to sort things out. So Tonali, he's available, he's fit to play, and he's ready, according to Eddie Howe. So let's see how that one plays out. Who else could be ready to play tomorrow then for Newcastle? We've had the international break. Good thing is obviously Anthony Gordon is now back from his suspension, so he will be ready to play after missing West Ham. It came at a brilliant time for him, this rest, bit of recovery for him, and hopefully he can hit the ground running again. And also Eddie Howe revealed that he just became a father for the first time. That's young for Gordon to become a dad. He's only a kid himself, but congratulations to Gordon, and hopefully he's not getting too many sleepless nights and he's fresh and ready for tomorrow on that left wing. But the big news is the other injury updates, obviously the players that have been missing for a while. Let's start with the player that's been missing the longest, and that is Joe Willock. Can't even remember the last time I seen him play. It feels like ages ago. I mean, I got this image, and you haven't even got an image of him in this top yet. You haven't even got an image of him in the new kit, because he's been ruled out for that long. He's still playing in last season's kit, so I can't wait for Willock to come back. Won't be back tomorrow though. He has thankfully been training this week. He has been back with the team training there, but it's probably going to come too soon for him to be included in the matchday squad, is what Eddie Howe said. So that's a shame, but obviously we'll have to be sensible. We don't want to rush him back. He said that Willock's chomping at the bit to come back, and Howe is desperate to have Willock available, but for now he's going to have to wait it out, and hopefully could be on the bench for Wednesday maybe against Dortmund. Let's see how it plays out. So Willock is a no-go for tomorrow. Another long-term, well, not long-term injury, but he's been ruled out a few weeks now, is Sven Botman, another one that's missed international duty. He is improving, Eddie Howe said, and Botman himself has been putting stuff on his Instagram where he's training. He looks better, he looks up to speed again. But Eddie Howe said that it's going to be a call on Botman. He still remains doubtful for tomorrow's game against Palace. So we're thinking Botman could be back. It might be a main game for me from Eddie Howe on that one. I would not be surprised if we're seeing Sven Botman start. However, no need to rush him back. We've got huge games coming up. He likes it, Dortmund and Man United in the Cup. Palace at home, no disrespect to them. But I think out of the games, I would happily see Lascelles play again. I think Lascelles has done good since he came in. Palace's threat going forward, we'll talk about it soon, but I don't think it's something to really be concerned about. So I wouldn't mind seeing Lascelles stay and just letting Botman ease back in. But obviously if he's fit, he's 100%, get him in there. Quality defender, we all know that. Next on the list is Joe Linton, the midfielder who came back and then he came straight off after he got injured after, what was it, 60, 90 seconds or something the other week at home at St James's Park. Hopefully he is fully fit now, and he is, according to Eddie Howe, ready to go. So J7 is back for tomorrow's game. He'll start, I'm sure of that. So that's going to be fantastic to see the Brazilian back, and hopefully, like I said, it's not just chucked in or rushed, because that would be a nightmare to see him pull up again like he did the other week. But hopefully he can have a good run of games now, Joe Linton, and he can get back to that form that we've seen in recent times where he's been unbelievable for us, and he is so important. So that's the one probably good news to come out of this whole team news injury update, is that Joe Linton is fit and will play tomorrow. Because the next bit of news, the last bit of team news, is on Alexander Isak, who we know came off against West Ham, also couldn't make international duty. He got pulled off from Sweden, so he couldn't play there because of injury niggles and problems. And Eddie Howe revealed today that he hasn't trained at all this week. Isak has not trained at all this week. That's a big blow, because, you know, our strikers, we are short. Thankfully Wilson's fit, but there'll be no other striker available to come on if Isak's not there, and vice versa. You know, that's where we're struggling. That's why in last night's show, the Thursday night show that I do every week live at 7, just tune in if you haven't already, I talked about the need for a striker in January, because we need more options. So if Isak's not there, he'll probably make the bench. He'll probably make the bench, but we'll just hope that he does need to come on, because if he does, it might make things worse, you know, because he's clearly not ready. If he hasn't trained all week, you couldn't imagine him playing tomorrow unless, like I say, you desperately need him to come on in the last 10-20 minutes or so. But Isak is going to be a big doubt and likely to miss tomorrow's game as well. So quite a few injuries still there for Newcastle. Few things to work out for Eddie Howe. Does he start Tonali? Joe Linton will come in, Wilson will come in, Gordon will come in. So it's still a really decent side. It's still a good enough team to beat Palace, because we'll talk about Palace now. For me, I think Roy Hodgson, respect to Roy Hodgson for still doing this job at his age, by the way. If it was me, I'd be sitting chilling right out on the beach somewhere getting smashed every day. But he is there on the training ground in this crappy weather. You know what I mean? Still, so passion for the game. That, and he probably hates his wife or something. But, you know, passion for the game. He can't get enough of it. Can't get enough of it. Good old boy. So he'll be bringing Palace up here. But what he won't be bringing is obviously Zaha, who they sold last year. I think he's been a big miss for them. And Elise and Eze, their two main threats, are also injured. So that's a big blow for them. And that's why I was talking about Jamal Lascelles. I'm alright with him playing, because they haven't got their most feared and dangerous forwards playing tomorrow. No Eze and Elise, which is a big blow for Palace. It's a plus for us, can't lie. And then you look at them and you think, well, where's the threat coming from? Because I don't really rate Palace that much. I think they might struggle this year. They're only a place below us, like, and they won't struggle because they always seem to grind out results. But I don't look at their team and think that's a good side. I don't. When Eze and Elise are in there, yep, they've got some talent, but even then, I think there's holes. And I don't know. I look at that team and I'm not worried. And that could be famous last words, but this should be a comfortable win for Newcastle on the weekend for me. It really should. It won't be easy though, because what Palace don't have going forward, they do have defensively. They've got a brilliant centre-back partnership in Markey and Joachim Andersen, both linked with Newcastle. Obviously Newcastle were in talks with Andersen last summer, but Palace wanted too much money for him, so we couldn't reach an agreement on signing the Danish international. But for me, he is one of the best centre-backs in the league. I think he's so underrated. I think he's quality. I would love to sign him. Anderson, and obviously Gay is the next big English thing, isn't he? He played for England the other night, right centre-back, but he would demand a crazy fee. But good defensively, Palace, so it won't be easy to break them down. I think they'll come here and play for the draw and just try and hit one the break. and they'll have that low block. But I think once we get the first goal, we could get a couple more. It's just getting that first one is the issue, and that has been the issue the last few times we've played Palace, to be honest, because the last 3 times we played them, last season we played them 3 times, including the Carabao Cup, which we needed penalties to get through. 3 draws, 3 0-0s last year against Palace, home and away in the league, and at home in the Carabao Cup. 3 ball draws. Let's pray that's not the case tomorrow, because the weather's going to be just as minging as it is now. I'm looking out the window, it's raining, it's windy as out, it's horrible. It'll be the same tomorrow at the game, no doubt about it. So let's hope it's better on the pitch. Might be hard conditions for the players and all, but let's hope it's better on the pitch, because no 0-0s. Even though we got robbed last season, remember Joe Willock's goal, VAR, we got bumped there. You know, even VAR, they came out afterwards, apologised, said it should have been given, it should have stood the goal. The apology didn't mean out to us, didn't get the 3 points, but thankfully it didn't matter in the end, finished in the top 4. But imagine, it could have cost us. So hopefully tomorrow Newcastle are fresh after the international break. We can break Palace down and we do get the 3 points. I'm going to back a 3-0 win for the Toon in this one, but it could be an edgy one, a nervy one, a 1-0 or a 2-0. But I'm going to go all out. I'm going to go 3-0. Sandro to score. Imagine the scenes if he's playing. If not, Big Lascelles from a corner, or Botman if he's back. But let me know in the comments below your score predictions for this one. Remember, you can win some free scran at Meat Stack. A match of the tray, all of this food, pint for free if you head over to our Instagram. Tomorrow it'll be me and Meat Stack, a collaborated post where you can comment the first goal scorer and the correct score, and that will give you the free match of the tray. Loads of free scran to be won if you can press them correctly. So good luck with that one, and you'll see it in my match day vlog. Love a Meat Stack on match day, part of the routine now. So there we go, that'll do for this video. Went on for a while. Also, let us know your thoughts on Tonali and what Eddie Howe had to say in the press conference today. Drop a like on this one if you've enjoyed it, people. Subscribe to my channel TV, and I'll see you on the next one.